Hi there, Mariana with Strand of Light. Hey, so I am back. Okay, so today I actually have some notes because I actually do want to start getting very intentional with what I am doing here today. And what I am doing is not just a today thing. Hopefully it's a long-term type of situation that I can potentially interrupt a day with sharing my story with you, and hopefully maybe some little thing might help you out if you're dealing with addiction recovery or trying to find something to do in all of this. Anyways, so today I actually wanted to talk to you about my process of getting sober, because I think people need to understand that getting sober, for some people, of course, it happens to be that they decide to get sober and they get sober and they have absolutely zero issues. And in fact, I wholeheartedly believe that there's people that can have a drink or two or have a couple nights where, you know, they enjoy their night and the next day they can go back to their normal life and not pick up a drink for a while. I was not one of those people. I struggled a lot with drinking, especially, amongst other things, but my DOC was definitely on the alcoholism spectrum. And I think people acknowledge that alcohol is so easy to get their hands on, but they also forget how easy it is for anybody to become an alcoholic. I do believe that. I do believe that there is a moment in time where we can be in control of our drinking, and then what I have noticed, and my personal opinion, I'm going to say this, I've said it in the past in other videos, but I will tell you right now, I am not a therapist. I am not anybody licensed to give medical advice or anything like that. This is just speaking on my personal recovery and advice that I can potentially offer you. Yet again, not somebody certified, just trying to share my story. And anyways, back to what I was saying. I do believe that there's people that can have drinks, there's people that cannot. I personally cannot. It took me a really long time to actually understand that, wholeheartedly know that I cannot have a drink. For me, it has been due to a lot of trauma, and I've noticed that a lot of people that fall into addiction is because of trauma. And I'll talk to you a little bit of the trauma that I've gone through, that I believe kind of pushed me into the direction of addiction. Not saying that that's the entirety of the story, because obviously I can't squeeze my entire life into like 30 minutes, 50 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever this turns out to be. But sorry, I'm looking at my notes, because I do want to talk about the things that actually led me to being here now, almost 2 years sober. It's actually 1 year, 11 months and 16 days sober. I'm so very proud of that. I am so excited to get to my 2 years, because it's just exciting. It's exciting to know that I ventured off and I don't need a drink to function, and I don't know when the last time it was that I did that, and I was okay, like both mentally and spiritually and everything in between. Okay, so actually what got me on the track of actually staying sober was getting in a little bit of trouble. I actually got in a couple of situations with law enforcement Nothing major, nothing crazy. In my personal opinion, of course, you know, there's levels and everybody's understanding is different. Anyways, I actually had 2 DUIs, and that kind of put me on a path where I kind of had to get sober because I had to. Like my freedom was kind of at stake there. And I think that kind of is able to scare a lot of people into getting sober, at least temporarily. I also was having some health issues a few years back, and I nearly did not make it out of there just because I was just having so many flare-ups with my alcoholism. Haven't had any episodes or anything like that in the last 2 years. A couple little complications here and there, but nothing life-threatening like I had before, which is really nice. It's nice not feeling like I'm going to die all the time. That's wonderful. And well, along with the DUIs that I got, I was sentenced to paying, the fines, and also to do some community service. Along my community service, I actually found somebody that I thought was kind of like very dry and kind of badass looking. So he was actually the person that I was doing my community service for. He was like the manager there. Ended up being a very good friend of mine. Don't talk to him as much as I wish I did, but he also did sponsor me for a little while, which was really, really nice because I'm not an easy person to deal with. And also I am kind of on a different level of communication. I am kind of childish. Yes, I'm guilty of. And a little bit of picking on and a little bit of taunting is kind of what did it for me. My sponsor really kind of made sure that I understood when I was being silly and not understanding something, and had pointed out in a way that just clicked in my brain. And I think that is a huge portion that I will say is very important, to find somebody that communicates the same with you, because I feel like we all communicate similar, but we all have kind of the special, I'm playful. I'm also very if you pick on me, I probably will pay attention more because to me that's familiar. If you sit down and give me a textbook and say, here, read this, I'm literally gonna get nothing out of it. And vice versa. Maybe you are a very tech savvy person, or you learn more off of books and literature, or even podcasts, or everybody just has a little bit of different ways of communicating and understanding each other better, because we all understand we're human beings. But I feel like that definitely helped me, is finding somebody that was similar to me. While I was doing my community service, I also attended a AA group, multiple locations, and met a lot of wonderful people, a lot of amazing moments that I endured and put myself in, and they pulled me out of and gave me a whole different understanding. Honestly, if it wasn't for AA and my sponsors, I don't think I'd be here. Another thing that also kind of got me here in this direction is I was put in a position of, no, that's a lie. That is a major lie. I put myself in a position of, I had lost just about everything I had. And what I didn't lose, I turned away from, and at one point it was better for me to walk away from even my kids. Yes, I said that. And I understand that there's going to be people that are going to be very against and very thrown off by me so openly and honestly just saying that. But I think there's levels of love and respect. And that's one thing that I had to do for my kids is I had to walk away. Because I knew I had a choice to make whether I was going to keep on fighting and make it or I was going to die. That's the reality of it. And I was going to die one of two ways. I was either going to do the unalive, or alcohol was just going to make me do something that I was probably going to regret. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to leave more damage than I already had. For me, even though walking away seemed like it shouldn't be an option, like at that moment it was the only option. It was the only option for their sanity, for their well-being, because I could no longer take care of them for that time being. I'm very lucky. For the couple of weeks and at times months that I was gone, I am very lucky to say that I had my family, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, all kind of pitching in and helping, and they were aware of my struggles and they were aware that I was not okay. And that was a portion that I'm very thankful for. I don't think I will ever have a way to repay that, but I'm grateful for it. And that portion was a very rough portion. I'm not gonna lie, that portion is a part of my story that every time it comes out, it is extremely hard to talk about, because I never imagined me being the person that left their kids. Okay? I love my kids with all of my heart, and I know that all parents say that, but I always say, you know, I have a little bit of a sick obsession with my kids. Like, I love them so much. I love them. I love my babies. Sorry. I have to bring myself back. I will get deeper into that portion in other episodes. I just kind of want to give a kind of big recap of the main things that got me out of my alcoholism, which was my major addiction. Okay. As time goes by, after therapy and going to AA, I started getting back in touch with my kids. That was also a process. Mind you, all of these things are a process. If you are sober curious and you need help, I'm going to tell you right now, because I wish somebody would have told me. And it's funny because I heard it multiple times. I guess I didn't listen. But getting sober is not easy. It is hard. It is potentially the hardest thing you will ever do in your life. But it's worth it. It is so worth it. That, I don't know if there's a tone that somebody needs to tell you, or if I just need to tap that. But seriously, I know sometimes it's gonna seem so boring, and sometimes it's gonna seem like it just makes no sense that anybody would want to be sober, because I was there. I did not know sober. I genuinely at one point thought sober meant like not getting tipsy or not having a drink that was a hard drink before brushing my teeth. I didn't know what sober was. I thought sober was just like, you don't get trashed. No. Like, people actually do sober, like, no alcohol, like, ever. And that's where I'm at. I have not had alcohol in a year, 11 months, and 16 days. Have I been tempted to? I've contemplated it. I'm not gonna lie. I've thought about it. But the last multiple times that I decided that I was gonna try, I kid you not, I either ended up in jail, in places that I just had no reason being, with people that I absolutely hated, but I had a trauma bond, so I just kept on going back. Trauma bond is a real thing. And I was fighting with the people that I love the most. My family, my best friends. I almost lost my best friend due to my drinking, which was one of the last people that held on to me, with me. And one of the people that saved my life, that was kind of the last straw that I had, and I relapsed again, and I was awful to her, and still to this day she's one of my best friends. We'll get to that also another time, but that's a juicy story. You won't want to miss that. It is full of so many emotions, a roller coaster of events, things, but luckily I'm lucky enough to have a best friend that loves me as much as she does, and I'm lucky to have that, period. Okay, so alongside of getting my family back, I was doing group therapy. That was also very wonderful, because then you get to share your story with other people and see the stories that they have. You'll find that when you get into recovery, you will start finding people that are also doing the same thing, because you're not alone. I promise you that. You are not alone. There's a lot of people that are fighting this, whether it is with alcohol, whether it is marijuana, whether it is cigarettes, relationship, trauma bonds, codependency. There is so many forms of addiction, and if you are not aware, let me tell you what I mean by addiction. Addiction is, in my understanding, is something that is more powerful than you, that is taking control over your life, something that you have no control over at one point or another, and is making you do things either that you don't want to do. Yet again, for me, it was ending up places that I shouldn't be, either fighting with people or arguing with work or friends, coworkers, my own family. Driving under the influence, things that you shouldn't be doing, you know, like things that you logically know that you shouldn't be doing, but you end up doing because you decided to drink or go get high or whatever it is. Okay, things that are kind of out of control, that are, in a sense, taking over your life. For me, yet again, it was the booze. Every single time that I picked up the booze, I managed to do something else that was stupid. Have I gotten high? Yes, multiple times on many different things. I do not exclude that. It is something that I did battle with, but my biggest thing that for me I could not get away from was the alcohol. I did lose a lot of things because of it, and including at some point I was also starting to literally lose my mind. And what I saw help me a lot was definitely a lot of the treatment that I was doing, that I was definitely against at first, but my sponsor once told me, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over. Do something different. Even if it doesn't feel natural, just do it. Do it until it's embedded in your brain. If you put on your shoes, the right one, and then the left, do the opposite. If you go one way to work, try finding a different route. Why? Because it just helps reprogram your brain easier without making such drastic movements. It's you can start by the tiniest little things. If you're focusing on that, sometimes it just helps. I know maybe that makes no sense, but think about driving down the road and you always turn right and you drive past a gas station every single day, and you always stop by there to pump gas and occasionally to pick up your beer, or to, for me, I'm just gonna go with beer, okay? Because that's the easiest thing for me to, and you know, kind of make sense of it. Anyways, think about going right. You always go to a gas station and you pick up your booze, you pump your gas, you bump into a friend, the cashier already knows you, and you know, you go about your day that way. Well, every single time that you go to that gas station, in my experience, I always ended up wanting to buy at least a beer or a pack. It was kind of inevitable. I always, 99% of the time, ended up picking up that pack of beer. How did I avoid it? I avoided it by doing something completely different. Going literally the complete opposite way, finding a new gas station, even if it meant driving a little bit further or a lot of it further. Yes, it sucks, but with the amount of money that we save from the booze that we are not drinking, that will not be nearly as much. Okay? Seriously. I don't know how I was supporting my drinking habit, because I just don't understand how that was working out. It was doable though, back then. Anyways, also, another thing that I learned about myself with doing all of these things is that for me, and for the majority of people that I went to group and counseling and therapy with, I learned that a lot of the excess drinking stems from some sort of trauma. For me, it definitely was a lot of trauma. The feeling of not being accepted, not being enough, not being loved enough, not knowing how to love enough, and backtracking to SA when I was much younger, choices that I've made personally after that, before that, the type of person that I became after encountering all of these things and not vocalizing them. When I was younger, I was not taught not because I wasn't loved enough the way I thought back then, is because everybody just kind of lives, and sometimes we don't think about teaching or even learning certain things, if that makes any sense. And when I was younger, I didn't really have a care for learning to be soft, or I didn't have a care for that. I didn't have a care for asking for help or saying that somebody hurt me, because I understood that my parents had to go to work. I understood that my siblings had their lives that they lived, and I understood that I didn't want to be a burden. And boy, I kind of wish I would have been patient enough to learn these things, because I feel like it would have helped me avoid a lot of trauma. Though also looking at the big picture, everybody really, in all reality, everybody has trauma. Your trauma may be more extensive than mine, and mine might be more significant to me than I see yours. And in my head, that is realistic, and in everybody else's, they can think that I'm absolutely nuts for it, right? But that's just kind of how it goes. Is sometimes we're so hyper focused on our own traumas that we don't see everybody else's issues. And other times people are aware of these things, and they shut down their personal bubble and decide not to talk about their traumas because they don't want to be a burden to you. And that's kind of where I was at, is I didn't want to be a burden. So I fast forwarded the trauma and kept that far tucked in the closet, that it didn't need to come out. It didn't need to come out. It was fine. It was fine being ignored, being in the back, not existing, but existing here. I didn't realize how much my trauma really affected my decisions and a lot of the things that I did. But I tried my very hardest, as I'm sure most people try to be the best human beings that they can be. And I think we all unintentionally kind of do this a little bit, where we don't want to be a burden, we don't want to hurt others, we don't want to distract somebody because they're busy with a career that they're pursuing, or they're busy with work, or they're busy with family, and who wants to burden somebody else? I didn't, and I think a lot of us have to learn as we grow older to be more intentional with ourselves and be more loving and kind to ourselves. I do know that there's people that just naturally know how to do that, and that's wonderful. I wish I could do that. But even then, even people that know how to do all these things are also not exempt of having trauma issues, or being depressed, or not feeling like they're enough, or having addictions, and going through all of these things. We are just human beings. That's kind of the end thing, is that we are human beings and we're here for a purpose. And in my understanding, I am here to be loving and kind and bring a little bit of light into the world. I don't intentionally go out into the world and want to ruin somebody's life. I guess there really is people like that. They're psychopaths and maybe they're a little crazy, but a lot of times that can also be traced back to some type of trauma. And it's so important. It is so important for people to deal with their traumas. So important. It's important for you. Take care of yourself. Seriously, if nobody told you today, Go drink a cup of water. Like, I know you haven't drank a cup of water. Go drink a cup of water. Like, it takes seconds. Just go to your cabinet. Have you ate today? Please make sure to eat today. Please make sure to get in some vegetables in you, or, you know, a cup of warm tea that makes you feel relaxed and okay. Take that bath that you've been wanting to. Sit down and read for 10 minutes if that's your thing, or go out and take a walk if you're feeling depressed and you haven't seen the sun in many days. Please just go outside. Go take that walk. Maybe you need it. Take me with you. But yeah, just remember to be intentional and loving and kind to other people is kind of my spiel. I want you to remember, just take care of yourself. It's so important, because if you can't take care of yourself, my mama used to tell me all the time, and she still does to the day, if you are not well, especially if you have little ones, they can't depend on you, because if you are not well, you can't take care of them, because you're not even taking care of yourself. Does that make sense? Take care of yourself today. Make an effort to just do something for yourself today, and try to move forward. Remember yet again that everybody has a little bit or a lot of it of trauma. I do strongly know now, after all of my personal stuff, I do know that I have to be intentional with myself and tell myself that I am beautiful, and that I am smart, and that I make right choices, and that I am a good human being, and to take it one day at a time. And sometimes that one day at a time is genuinely like one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, deciding what I'm going to do, to not go crazy, whether it is go fold laundry, or go clean the windows, or go make a snack, or sometimes even resting. I'm really bad at resting. That's something that I work on every day. You will often see me with bags because I'm just really bad at sleeping. One thing that I feel like I have wasted a lot of time doing is just sleeping, and I don't want to do it anymore because I just want to make more progress. And I know that a lot of times I have to pull myself back and say I have to sleep, though I also feel like I also do sleep a lot. I just have a weird schedule. Let's be honest. I have a weird schedule. That's okay. Anyways, taking the one day, one step, one movement at a time is very important. So pay attention to that. And you have the choice. You have the choice. And now let me tell you right now, I know that some things in our life are so hard, and they're going to be so hard to move past. And it's hard to forgive other people that have hurt us. It's hard to get past certain situations. It's hard to get out of living on the streets, or finding a new apartment, or stop involving yourself with people that you need to skedoodle daddle out of. It's hard. A lot of things are hard, and I get that. But I want you to remember that the choice is yours. Yes, a lot of the choices that we are given, or that we are put in front of, or place ourselves in front of, can be hard. But I want you to remember that you have a choice to make, to continue living in the repetition cycle of what you're doing. If you're happy, great. Keep on doing what you're doing and be happy. Do what makes you happy, but genuinely happy. Not just happy at the moment because you want to brag that you're happy, but I mean genuinely in your life happy. It is a choice that you can make. Yes, I understand that depression is real. I understand that trauma is real, and things don't always seem easy. And I'm not saying that things are easy. Don't get me wrong. Things are hard many, 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 many times. Yes, but listen to what I am telling you right now. You genuinely have a choice. You have a choice in meditating for a minute. And if you don't know how to meditate, learn. You can learn. I promise you. And I know that I may seem kind of like pushy, but I think sometimes we need that somebody pushy in our lives. And sometimes our siblings and our mom and our dad and our best friends are not that person because they're too close. Sometimes it needs to come from a complete stranger. And if I am that complete stranger today, thank you. Thank you for giving me that 5 seconds to listen, to hear me out. But I want you to make the choice today of cleansing that negativity from you. And I've learned to tell myself this, and I'm going to share this with you. And I'm actually going to do this right here with you because I'm feeling extremely nervous about doing this, because I say a lot, because I'm self-conscious, because I got bags under my eyes, because okay? But when I'm feeling a lot of bit overwhelmed or anxious or scared or frustrated, I like to take a moment and take a deep breath. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out, and just repeat it. Repeat it 3, 4, 5 times. And remember to tell yourself to breathe. Listen to your breath. And whatever you're feeling, I want you to remember that you're feeling this way for a reason. We don't just feel anxious just because. What is flying through our mind at that moment? Is it a situation in your life? Is it a person? Is it the lack of control? Is it the fear? What is it? What are you feeling? Remind yourself that in this very moment, you are here. You are here in this space. You are safe. You may be hurting. And it could be for a multitude of reasons. But you have to remember that right now, you are in this space and you are okay. You are breathing. You are aware. You are awake. And I don't know your situation today, but I do know that sometimes we need to remember that some situations are not in our control, and we can only do what we can do. Whether it's take a step back or make a choice, a decision, a move. But you have to take it one step at a time. You can't be at the finish line when you haven't even crossed the starting point. It takes time, it takes effort, and many times it takes baby steps. Be patient with yourself. Be loving towards yourself. And remember that this is going to be a process. Sobriety is a process. It takes time. And I'm not saying a day, a few hours, a week, a month. I'm saying it's an ongoing journey. I don't know when the journey stops because I have not stopped learning. And I'm very happy about that. Yes, there's days where it's extremely difficult, but I have found something so amazing. I've found peace. And that's something that I don't know that I ever had drinking. I had partying, I had crying, I've had dancing, I've had a lot of things. Camping, drinking. I can't say that was peaceful when I was drinking. It was fun, and it was very fun. But peaceful? I don't know about that. I find myself today living a life where I feel okay. If I happen to die tomorrow, I'm not going to look back and say, dang, I wish I would have done something better in respects to this, and this. And the list is not this long and growing. The list is very, very minimal. And still to this day, there's things that I'm still working on. I think I will forever and always continue to work on the relationships with my family, and building a stronger foundation and teaching them better and teaching myself how to listen and how to speak to people. I'm very big on I love yous. I'm very big on I love yous because I think people aren't told enough that we're loved. I tell my kids that I love them every single day, multiple times a day. Part of my little obsession with my children, right? But there's some people in my life that I wish I told them I love them more. And I say this all the time on my other platforms is, give that person a call and tell them that you love them. And as much as I say that and I tell people this, I'm also guilty of not always doing that. Sometimes because I don't have time. Sometimes because the space that we've created has been healthier than being together and fighting. I choose not to fight with people. I choose to protect my peace. And I choose to protect what I have taken my time on. Like I said before, and I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat and tell you that I don't wish I had a drink in my hand sometimes. That would be a lie. Sometimes it would be so much easier to just go do that and go continue partying and live that life. Sometimes it's easier. I'm not going to say that it's not. For me though, it's just not worth it. I have so much more now. I have so much more here. And let me tell you, part of my story that we'll get into later on in another episode also is I once upon a time had a house that I lived in for 9 years that I lost in just a few months. It was a blink of an eye. And that was just not a good space. I lost that. I lost my partner. I left my kids. I left my entire family. And that was just not a good place. And I've rebuilt that. I have an apartment for my kids and I have all my kids back with me. We have food on the table. Everybody has what we need. I am planning on taking my kids on vacation, eventually. I'm still not there yet, but it's still a work in progress. Every day is a work in progress. And yeah, I make the choice to be happy and move with purpose in a direction that is slowly but surely. That's kind of the end of this portion of, you have a choice. And I genuinely want you to remember that. If you take anything from today, I want you to remember that you have a choice. You have a choice of smiling today, of meditating, of going outside and taking deep breaths and being grateful for what you have, of just being alive, of people around you being safe and having gratitude. Another huge thing that I have found is I have found my higher power. And I know some people are absolutely against this, that, and the other. I'm not going to put names on my higher power, because my higher power is my personal well-being, my safe place, my haven, and a big portion of what has also taken me out of the negative headspace. My higher power, I pray to, and I show my gratitude by paying it forward, by speaking about these things and helping other people either find resources or find 5 minutes to just chat when things are so overwhelming. Just paying it forward. I know that's not a huge thing for a lot of people, but for some people, and I've been in that position, having somebody just there can make a difference. And it's not saying that I'm an almighty hero in any way, shape, or form. I just know that that is something that I have been able to do, because I will never be able to fix the world or fix somebody that doesn't want to be fixed. But for the people that want to have a little bit of help, guess what? There's people. There's a lot of people. I don't know if you've ever heard of AA. It's a wonderful thing. No, it's not a cult. No, you don't have to do weird stuff. They're not devil worshippers, or like they're not there to push religion onto you. I'm very grateful that I did find my higher power amongst many things that came into play, yes, including AA, but it's not like somebody's shoving something down your throat. You do not need to worry about that, but just go find somebody that you can talk to, somebody that you can bond with. It helps. It genuinely helps. Okay. So that's kind of what I have for you today. I think I am going to start breaking down the little things and also making bigger episodes specifically about certain things. So stay tuned. I will have more and I will be back. Right now, I am actually going to say goodbye. I love you so very much. I hope you at least got to hear something that could potentially help you in the future. And if not, thanks for letting me rant for a moment. I appreciate that. I'm sorry that I am kind of a little nervous about doing this, and I use a lot because I am very much new to this, but I do know that I want to share my story because I feel like in the beginning of my sobriety, I was tricked and lied to. I was, but I wasn't, but I was, into you just stop drinking and it's fine. No, that was not true for me. I struggled. I cried. I shouted. I screamed. I punched. I sat in a room full of recovering addicts and alcoholics, curled up in a ball on a couch, probably the width of this, and I was allowed that space to just be and just exist. And I know that might sound crazy, and at one point, there's no way I would have thought myself capable of curling up in a ball like a maniac in a room full of people talking about their addictions. But at some point, that was also my safe place. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. And when things get hard, there is a way out, and there is hope, and there is the light at the end of the tunnel. And it is rocky and it's hurtful, but it's doable. It is so doable. I promise you that it is doable if you have the right things to listen to and the right people to be around. So find yourself a good community, whether that's through AA, therapy, a friend that is sober or you trust, or a family member. Find somebody that can be with you. You are not alone. And if you need, please send me a DM. I do reply. I really actually do. Maybe there might be a time in the future when I can't as much, but I do get very involved with people that need help. So I am here if you need me. I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you so very much dearly, and I will see you another time. I'm not going to say when, because I'm bad at coming back when I say when, but I am here. I do check my social media. I do post a lot on my Insta and Face, and I am there a lot too. Under the same name, so you can find me under the Strand of Light. Yet again, my name is Mariana. I love you so very much, and thank you for listening to my rant. I will get better at this, I promise. All right, I love you so very much. Bye.